Mario Escobar took the initiative to do independent research, and it paid off. Inside the Benson building is an in-house lab where students can experiment with research through trial and error. Here is where students push the boundaries of learning beyond textbook learning.
You can't just be okay with what the textbook says or what the paper says. You learn to ask more and ask the questions that sometimes need to be asked.
Mario was advised to do research to be able to meet his career goals, and he took the advice.
They told me to memorize it, so I made these like little flashcards, and whenever I walked to school, I was just like flipping through the flashcards and memorizing what to do. But I came in and I'm just like, oh, I've got it memorized. He's like, oh, sure. So what's the first step? And I tell him. He looks at me weird. What's the second step? This. What's the third step? This. And he's just like, oh, you actually memorize it.
Mario's self-motivation opened a door to possibility.
You can learn tools, you can learn knowledge, but passion, you kind of have to come with that. It's super hard for me to instill passion in a desire to ask questions.
Despite Mario's passion, setbacks and discouragement still set in.
That happens about once a month where you just think, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing this. It's just, let's throw everything in the trash.
With the help of mentors, he didn't give up.
I keep emphasizing to my students the re in research, right? Search has a re on it, the prefix re, which means do it again, redo it. And whenever they come in and say, it didn't work, I usually just say, well, you've discovered the re, back at it.
As his semesters continued, along with his grit, he became more proficient in research. Mario even published his findings.
We've published an RNA paper. Currently, we're in the middle of publishing 2 more papers, which is one with Jack Rose from ISU and one with Jennifer Chase from NNU. We're in the middle of working for another paper. This is more of Ming paper, so a fertility paper, here with people at byu-Idaho.
Well, if a student's going to graduate school, it's a huge impact to have their name on a paper or a publication or to have tools.
Despite his original hesitations, Mario has discovered that research pays off.
Learn how to correctly categorize what is true and what is false. And although sometimes we can rely on other people to do that, eventually you need to decide on yourself what is true and what is false.
If nothing else, by doing science in a lab, you recognize that science isn't perfect. Even the textbooks, are 5 to 6 years out of date, so you've got to be somehow involved in current things and hands-on. That's of course, in addition to textbook learning, is ideal and optimal.
Like, all of this is just a very big, complicated biological puzzle, and the idea of solving it and figuring out how it works, why it works, and all these little intricate details is just fascinating to me.
Mario enjoys researching the biochemical process and hopes to end up working in a research and development sector.
It's not easy, but it's worth it. There's been times where I've thought, you know what, I should just quit because I have other things to do. But at the end, the payback is much more than what the cost was.
3 years ago, Mario started a journey, unsure of how it would end, only to realize it doesn't have to. This is Lisette Larson with Scroll TV News.